So more Astral content to be done, and now with post commentary. So now we're starting off like case 3 in general. It's gonna be a more post commentary-esque style. Basically because I need all the time I need in the world to concentrate to do my shit and everything from that. This video is almost 40 minutes long from just me editing it down to everything. And it's because we did 2 round 3s and we ended off with a W, which is very funny. And a little insight on what I wanted to do before is that since last time, the previous episode, I had to do a voiceover for the final, for the final case we did. And I actually wanted to just sit down and do the W case before starting up the B-roll for all this. But if anything, I didn't. It was funny, but I didn't do that because, well, it was more simple to just record it with this. And nothing much to say. This Sector 5 case, in general, all the fights are against the Raven Legions. So the first off is up against the Heavy Arm. And the Heavy Arm is not that bad. If you could just keep it stunned with the Beast Legion and other stuff like that, it's going to be pretty easy for you to do. Other than that, this is technically like my second attempt on this case. First time it happened, I actually got decently far into it, but I got called off to do something else in the middle of me doing this, and the next enemy was basically inside my hitbox. So when I left, not instantly, but I took damage, which knocked me out. So it's funny like that. You're gonna see what I mean, like when this entire case is done, because I don't want to break up the flow of this. But I'll just say on this, the Heavy Arm Legions are not bad. The only menacing part about it could be just its spin attack. If it wants to do the aura as well, it could be a problem, but usually just give it to range. If it does Gravity Storm and you have Blue Shield on, it's actually better for you because since there's no multiple enemies around you, you can just use that time to take out or do the damage you can while this focus on you. Going up the stairs here, we get to the next part of our fight. And the funny thing for me is that anytime I see a little editing glitch or an editing bug, I could probably just re-edit this and just have it better technically. But the next fight in this case is against the Raven's Axe Legion, the Radish. And this is the enemy that knocked me out in this is like the enemy that knocked me out. Basically like the the axe type legions. So like kind of like Diomedes when I first played this game, Hector, the type R Radish, and I think the Gladius Proto Legion are like my not my least favorite, but they're the enemies that give me the most trouble because they hit like a damn truck and you need to figure out how. Next fight here is up against the bow gun or the arrow legion for the Ravens. Not that hard, pretty frail. And other than that, mostly it's just if it disappears, the only time you gotta do is just go with the Beast Legion. Also, as you heard through the Iris, technically I got the wrong Iris voice on, since I just started up the cases immediately. Not that I didn't care, but I forgot to just change it. We still have the one for the previous episode, but after this case I did change it to the new one, so I'll just say what the new one is for I'll tell you what the new one is as soon as this case is finished. What I'll say here is just all of the Raven Legions. Some of them are easy to deal with, others are not. No other secret enemies are going to show up on this. Diving into the Astral Plane Arena, we get 2 more, and they're the final 2 Ravens. which are both the Blade Legion, or the Sword Legion for the Ravens, and the Wolf Legion, or the Beast Legion for the Ravens. Not much else to say on these fronts. These guys are not that hard to deal with. If you can get them all cornered here. Oh, some well-timed spin cycles from the Axe Legion could be good. The only problem would be the Wolf Legion, because it will howl and will keep you stunned for a while. So that should probably be your biggest priority target. But nothing much else to say on that front. The Blade Legion will shoot out its triple swords, which will get annoying after a while because they go back and forth between him and the end of the rope. So do be mindful of that. But this case is pretty simple to finish. Only like 5-ish minutes on the clock. So it's very fun to do. And with that one, this first case is done. Yeah, technically you're going to be seeing the cut to the thing I was talking about. This is really funny, but that is what happened to me when during the middle of the attempt. He was just taking me into my hitbox, so once I unpaused, I took a lot of damage and had to restart the case again. But nothing much else to say on that front. That case is not that hard to do. I keep confusing that case with a different Sector 5 case. You're probably going to see it, I think, if I'm doing this correctly, in like 3 to 4 episodes from now. It is a doozy. But as you can see, I'm changing my voice from G, which was Elizabeth. Yeah, which was Elizabeth's voice actress, to the new one, which is H, all based on Howl. So if you want to keep hearing howling your Iris, you can use them. So that's the Iris voice we're going to be using for today. And nothing much else to say on that front. The next case is going to be, I think, pretty simple as well.
Another job.
I know for me, this one took me 3 attempts, which not the only reason, but it's the only times that I did lose was during the beginning of the case. So that was just terrible. And that's that, I tell you. Hectors and the goddamn Bradish Legions are just terrible for me. But no, I'm thinking of a different case, never mind. But what do you call it? Every other case has their own ability to think of and some strategies to work with. This one just technically, I would say no abilities to worry on other than just your normal power and auto sync. Probably some sync heals if you have it, because that'll be helpful for everything in general. But this is the reason why I kept dying to the first one, is because there's a Hector and an Ice Maiden, and technically the Hector is the most of your problems, especially if you have an anti-freeze. If you have like an anti-freeze ability core on your Legion, the Ice Maiden is the least of your worries because they won't freeze you. The only times they can hit you is if they freeze you with an Ice Beam, and then they can follow up with a different attack. Usually I just try to howl both of them so I can deal with the Ice Maiden by myself, because the Hector is there just to defend the Ice Maiden. No, as I say. Other than that, the Hector just does more damage than it should. And usually one of the attacks knocks you down from full health to 25% health, so do be mindful of that. Not much to say on that one, but after this you do have to fight an Astral and a Capanius, which not as terrible as the good old Hector Ice Maiden combo. But once you get past the Hector and the Ice Maiden, the rest is not as hard as that. I can see like a second part as well for it being hard. But the Astraeus and the Capanius are simple to deal with, especially if you have a blue shield on. If you have an anti-stun, it will help you against the Astraeus, while the Capanius with wind, if you just prioritize him, you can just get through this little fight more easier than it should be. not much else. Next one, the next fights are technically like a 1-to-1-to-1, but they all come one by one, so you don't fight them all at the same time. These fights are all up against Raven officers, one with each of the legions. So one would have the Blade Legion, then the next one would have a Bow Legion, then the next one would have a Heavy Arm, then a Wolf, then a Bradish, and then that's it. So do be mindful of that. Basically, if you want to deal with them, try to hit them with try to hit the Legion and the Officer both with a stun, because it will like disengage the Legion, meaning you could just deal more damage to the Officer than the Legion. And yeah, the Officers don't have that much health because I think they have the same amount as the base, like the main character, so like 200. So if you can prioritize if you can prioritize just doing that, you'll be fine, because some of the legions are pretty annoying to deal with. The Air Legion is one, or the Bowgun Legion is one because of its range and all that. It can hit you from pretty dumb areas. The Wolf Legion as well, because stated before, howling and stun is the worst thing that can happen to you. Bradish as well, because the amount of damage you can do on one swing will fuck you up. Other than that, some other combos you can do is just funny like hit rushes. If you can do like a hit rush if you do like a hit rush on the Raven Legions, they can just not be affected as much with you, and they will be fighting each other, and you could just deal with the other Legion, or you could just deal with the Officer on your lonesome. And that was a really good use of the blue shield, where I just got hit 3 times and lost all my blue shield. Use a grenade to take them out. After that, with the Raven officers, the final fight will spawn in an Astral Plane arena, and they're not as bad. I can see like the fight with the Raven officer with the Bradish Legion being a bit hard, because stated before, it's another heavy weapon demon, like a heavy weapon chimera to deal with. Once we go into the portal, this is the final part of this case, and it's not that bad. It's just against the Kotos and the Gaijis. So basically, just simple as keep them together, stun them both, so you can do damage. And don't neglect your stun grenades once you run out of Howl, because taking out one of them at least neuters them from doing their massive damage in terms of the spin cycle they do. So do be mindful of that. Also, having a anti-freeze for the Gaijis will be beneficial, because you don't have to deal with any of the freezing that can happen, because once they freeze you, they can do more damage onto you. If you want to take out the Kotos first, that's more better, because the anti-freeze will help you out with Gaijis' attacks. But depends on how you want to front it. Grenades are also pretty funny for the fact that they do a consistent, like, good chunk of it. So if you are pretty far from the Chimera, you could just use that. Also, you've been seeing one of the skills I put on my Axe Legion is just auto sync. Because I've been using the spin cycle a lot, having auto sync will just benefit me on just concentrating to dodge, especially after doing the spin cycle, because it makes it more simple for me to just hit them with the dash attack of the Axe Legion, and more on a sense that if an enemy is next to me or beside me, that's the same damn thing. It's next to me or like behind me, it makes it more easier for me to just dodge out of the way and not worry about that. Nothing to say about that. I know for a fact that by the time this is being like voiceover, when I'm doing the voiceover, I had changed my Legion special moves. Like, I call them special moves because of the abilities. I just call them abilities. But the special moves, I changed them for me going to do more practice on platinum difficulty, which I will call platinum ultimate platinum difficulty, because if you want a pure like completion of this game, like a platinum trophy, you will have to play on platinum difficulty. So do be mindful of that. And I know that not all the moves I changed are basically like beneficial to you. Some are, some aren't. I'm just trying to get the other achievements out of the way while doing VOs and the rest of the B-roll. As you guys saw before, though, we are doing the round 2's W case, and this equates for the majority of the fight. The remainder of this video is just this W case, so have fun with that. And I know that during the fight, I think I actually had to open up my camera again and delete something again. And I think, though I did show back in that one video where I opened up my my camera to just change or to delete one of the pictures I had for some of the hermits that came up. I never got the achievement for filling out the photo album, because if you technically do get the photo album and hit, yeah, if you do get hit while taking a picture, it automatically saves your photo. But it doesn't give you the achievement. You manually have to take another picture for it to count, and I learned that out the hard way, which was pretty funny, but what am I gonna do about it? This first fight against these two enemies, the Elias and the Iceman, are not that bad. These two don't have a lot of HP to deal with and all that, but the only problem is that they both are accompanied by a shell, a beast, and an arrow, respectively. When I was talking, I took out the beast one, and the only like difficult one, problematic one, is the arrow legion, the arrow shell, because, well, it does go up. And the only way to knock it down is to use the Arrow Legion, either a pure charge shot or hit it with one of the special moves for the Arrow Legion, either air shot or slow shot. So that's how you can deal with them. The Elias is like the least. Yeah, the Elias is like the least of your worries. And the only time he can be a brat is during his lunge attack, but it does telegraph when it's gonna, when they're gonna do that. Ice Maiden, just if you have auto or anti-freeze, it's gonna be better for you to deal with. But nothing much else to say on that front. When I was just talking about some of the other stuff I have, you saw all the enemies show up for this W case. So not much else to say on that one. Some of them are pretty dickish on their placements. This Minotaur and double glove aberrations are not that bad, because the biggest of your worries is the Minotaur, because it has better attacks and it's a little faster than the rest of the other power chimeras. But if you are still missing a glove aberration for the police officer, you can still grab it here, because these two aberrations are the police officer variation. So if you're still missing the glove one, you can grab it in this case. Next one comes up is good old Filth Wings and a Halo, and a Hesky in the back too. This one more in the same, just try to stun everyone with a Beast Howl after a Gravity Storm, because it makes this section a lot easier. One other thing you can do during this fight is set up a Gravity Storm and try to put a Crash Bomb in the middle of that, then stun everyone and then do a spin cycle, because once that bomb explodes, it will do a good chunk of damage on every enemy that's stuck there, and the stragglers will be hit by the 360, and then their bombs will blow up if they get far away from you. The only like hard part about this fight is the Hestia, because since those archer type chimeras disappear, you need to just have your Beast Legion out, or once they try to attack you, hit them with any type of Legion you have and stun them, and then do damage that way. But mostly in the fact that since it'll disappear a lot, you'll probably have to chase it with your Beast Legion. Next one here will just be just a couple frogs and an Orthrus. This one is not that hard. The only bad part about it is the Orthrus, which causes you to take some tornado damage. But not much else on that front. These frogs are pretty weak. Just a 360 will technically like take out all of them. And since we're back to like round 2, we do have a like a revive to help us out if we do get a bit hasty. And this was just pretty cathartic for me, pretty relaxing after doing some of the stuff in round 3, which I saved this for later and not do it immediately, but hey, what am I gonna do about it? Some other things about this part is that this also goes back into one of my other, like a previous thing where you have to take a case at the police HQ. Why would you leave the police HQ? Because we holy shit, a voice crack. So from like where you spawned, you're walking out technically from like where the elevator is. So you like came back from the bottom part of Neuron or some shit like that. Next one here is I don't remember like all these enemies like back to back, but one of them is Eris, and Eris is more of a more like an ass to deal with because of its lasers and its pretty fast movement. The Harpy up here doesn't do that much damage. Or the fire, yeah, the fire falcon. Kalino, there you go. But Kalino's not that bad to deal with. The only problem about it is that the fire attacks will show up and deal with you, but if you just give Kalino her space, she won't be that much of a damage dealer. If you have anti-flame for this part on one of your legions, especially your Axe Legion, will be fine. Also, same thing with a bit of super armor because the attacks from Eris, I think the lasers get negated by, or not negated, but super armor alpha. Yeah, super armor alpha is better for you because of the same mechanics of, since it shoots its lasers, you won't be stunned, you get to do more damage onto it, but do be careful of your health. Kalino just deal with its fire damage with the same mechanics of anti-flame, you'll be fine about that. I'm recording this like very early, so if I do like go not off a bit, but like very tired and zone out, I'm sorry. Especially with the W case, because these things are just not slogfest. These are just try to beat a bunch of enemies in time. Next one up is a Cryus, which I do love. No, it's not Cryus. Cryus is the one from the car. I don't remember this one off the top of my head. The only problem with this fight in general would just be the fireballs, because if you don't defeat them in time and let them just keep going up in size and all that, and this is just a foreshadowing for a different case, if you keep doing, or if you keep letting the fireballs expand, they will blow up and most certainly knock you out with one attack if they blow up, so do be mindful of that. I know for me, the only problem with just this case in general was the targeting reticle, because the game prioritizes the enemies closest to you with that little triangle above each of the reticles. So if you are trying to attack an enemy decently far, but you can still reach with your attacks, and there's an enemy right beside you, the game will prioritize the enemy right beside you than the enemy that you're trying to deal with. This round is just one Diomedes, which fight means is not that bad, especially since we got all our upgrades. So do be mindful of that. He's not gonna be that much of a problem. So it's just a simple loop of keeping him in the 360 cycle after a Gravity Storm or a Beast House stun. Now it's just a couple of frogs with shells, so your best bet just deal with the shells and all that. Poseidon is the only bad one on this front because of his stun ability and all that. The slime from the normal, or yeah, like thunder slime from the Poseidons are just going to be terrible on that front. The fire frogs are then second in line because of their freeze ability and all that. And I know for me during this part of the fight, I actually could not do some of the sword stuff, like some of the slashes of the Sword Legion, because every enemy was just trying to dogpile me. It became pretty funny like later on, but I cannot cut on the Kair's line because of the dodge into attack. It does not give you the thing you want. Especially after the sync attack, it doesn't work. I know for me, I just said screw it and just progged up the sync attack, or the fusion, to just, one, boost up the count for the fusion counter on the achievement, and two, to just heal up. I literally just said screw it when I recorded this, and then saw that it still didn't do any damage, so I knew I just wasted it. And I could have just used it on a different fight. I'll just say of this one, this is just an annoying part of the fight because of the good old shells and all that, especially the ones with the axe shield, because there's not just one axe shell. There are multiple of them in the corner, but the only problem is that you try to cut the line of a Kair, though, and you do the sync attack to do damage on that Kair. The other shielded frogs will just get in the way and stop the sync attack, which kind of sucks. But do be mindful of that. I know for me, after I took out the Kairs, I just saw one in the corner and hopped on my Beast Legion to go beat it up with an axe. And then once you get like every single shell down, you can just start fighting the frogs normally, because you can now do the tried and true, keep them with you can find them with Gravity Storm and stun them and all that. So final axe shell in the corner here, just take them out, and it's gonna be smooth sailing with the good old Gravity Storm. Other things that have just been going around for me while we're just focusing on this specific fight is that in general, these cases, I think like these parts of Astral are getting kind of annoying to deal with, especially since trying to like sit down and do it, because some fights are kind of annoying. The enemy placements they put there are really annoying, and the only way that they can balance it out is by giving you enemies that deal a ton of damage to deal with, which kind of suck. This was not that bad here. Just the fight against the Tesmian, Winged Mutts, and some Claws. The only true problem here is the Tesmian. Every other enemy dies pretty simple from a Axe Legion 360 cycle, either from the cycle itself or the bomb that's implanted into them. So that's only the, that's like majorly the problem on this one. The mini Orthruses can make a tornado, which will cause a lot of damage to you, but just keep an anti-stun on hand for your main legion to deal with the Tesmian. Also, anti-disciple would be great as well because of it, the howl from the Tesmian. If you have a blue shield as well, it'd be very helpful because you won't be stunned by the howl or the electricity damage. If you're under the Axe Legion's shell, will also help you out as well. A funnier one, like another funnier fight, is that a homunculus beta shows up, which when I first did this, kind of was funny as hell. So basically, the major damage on this one and your main target to deal with is just the homunculus beta. The other one of the Ladon, just be mindful of its attacks in the back. So either it's lasers or it's like it's lasers or it's fireballs that come out. You can just have the camera on it the whole time to just deal with it. The only problem with homunculus beta is that one of its attacks is that it sweeps in front of it, which can hit you and your legion at the same time, and will knock you probably into like a combo if it's pretty lucky enough with the Ladon's fireball. Some other like Hydras show up as well to cause more damage, so do be mindful of that. So having some super armor Omega on this part would be great because the attacks from the homunculus will not like interrupt you when you're doing sync attacks and all that. The only problem would be the laser. I know for me, so the only part that's been funny is that I've been getting knocked away from this homunculus beta. Since it's not like Gamma or Alpha where you can just take out its limbs to do or to like deal with the simplest things and make it stun after defeating all of the appendages. Homunculus beta is more of an annoying fight to deal with. After that, just deal with the Ladon normally. The Hydras are the least of your worries because if they dig away, you could just dig them up with a Beast Legion. The only problem would be the Ladon after the homunculus beta because of its laser and its tendency to keep throwing its fireballs around when you want to deal with another enemy. So that's your best bet. Hydras, you can just deal with their shot with a super armor alpha because they won't like knock you out and all that. Another thing would just be sinking and all that to just at least heal up from the damage and all that. After digging up this final one, you just need to knock it out. And I think we're like halfway through this W case, so it's gonna be fine on that part. I do technically die on this W case because the enemy placement on one round was annoying to deal with. This one here, we just got a Callisto. Yeah, like Callisto and some archer enemies to deal with and all that, so it's gonna be a fun time to deal. Basically just all Beast Legion to work with. Other stuff would just show up on, I think, some other arrow like pro legions, I think, in the background. I also did the auto lock on so I don't have to lose the Callisto every time. But the Beast Legion really wants to play with just having a fun time on having a fun time on just fucking around and pulling me back when I want to pull it towards me. Callisto should be down almost soon. And the only other like two enemies in this round with the Callisto are two Arrow Proto Legions, which are there to disrupt your fight with the Callisto. So if you want to just have a easier time with the Callisto, take out the Arrow Proto Legions, but I wouldn't do it. Some other thing that I've just been doing in the meanwhile, where I have been doing Kirby's Return to Dreamland as like just a game to play in the background because I got the deluxe edition. And technically, I've almost gotten 100% in the game. I just need to defeat the true arena, which that is beating my ass. But nothing much else today on the Kirby front because the game, though EX mode is pretty hard. It's not that bad, especially since the deluxe version of Kirby Return to Dreamland saves your life count, unlike the Wii version, which always resets you to 5 when you reload the save. This next round here is annoying for the reasons that we are fighting the Raven Legions, and the major of the three to deal with is just the Wolf because of stun, Heavy Arm because of heavy damage, and the spin cycle it does will most certainly knock you out. And then the Blade one. So prioritize just the Wolf, then the Heavy Arm, and then the Blade. I know for me that didn't happen to me. I think I took out the Blade first because it just wanted to stay in the spin cycle. After that, I know I died on this part because the thing it wanted to do with the spin cycle of the heavy arm just sucked. So that's just how I technically got a pretty bad call on this one. Nothing much else to say. I think we're nearing the end of these fights. So, I think like 2 to 3 more rounds and then we're done. Even though I saw the list show up and I can look up the list on my phone during the recording, I'd rather not. The only problem with autosync is that if you have autosync on, the only time you can like the only way you recover from like being knocked away, that is not the Legion jump to work, is just your normal one. And if you have autosync on, you can never do like the normal ukemi than the Legion ukemi. I play a lot of fighting games, I'm sorry. So on that front, it's pretty annoying to deal with. Here we just got the strays and companions to deal with. So it's gonna be a fun one to deal. Other thing I've been doing in the meanwhile, other than just playing Kirby and all that, is that I think Turnip Boy Robs the Bank came out pretty recently, and I've been playing the absolute hell out of that. The only time where I don't record this game, or I am doing something else in the background, is that I've been playing Turnip Boy Robs the Bank. I'm at the final part of that game, but Jesus Christ, that final part always it's starting to infuriate me a lot. It's because of how, not design, but just how the mechanics are. But that's just me being me and me being terrible at video games. The final part of this fight is just against the Deimos and the Kyle, which I find really funny that I have to say that. The Deimos is probably the biggest like annoyance in this like fight because of its fire ability and all that. Kyle's here to just disrupt and be pain with his smoke grenade, his shock baton, and all that. So do be mindful of that. If you want to like a hierarchy, you can just deal with the Deimos. If you have anti-flame, attacking it directly with your Legion or yourself won't burn you. So if you want something to deal with, you can do that. Now that the Deimos is down, we can just deal with Kyle. Nothing else. What am I, Daffy Duck? Nothing else shows up on this. It's just Kyle at the end. Once you beat Kyle, I think we are done with this specific case and all that. The only problem with Kyle is that he will like dodge around. And he, I think, fell into a stock Family Guy pose. But with that, 17 minutes out of our time to play this entire W case. Especially with just resetting and all that. I think this recording took almost an hour of B-roll footage. And as you guys have been seeing, you only see like one attempt and all that. I'm trying to just show you guys like the successful attempt. I can talk about some other attempts down the line that fucked me up and all that. But if I do show some of the fuck ups, like I did with what I did with the previous episode, we'll be getting to like hour-long territories. And though I love Astral, and though some of you guys really do like to see it, I would not subject you to an hour long just of me fucking up. But with that, this video has come to an end. We have done 3 cases for today. Next time on Astral, we're going to be doing 3 more. Talk to y'all then. To the computer.